Hi, Michael. Thanks for getting in touch. As promised, just offer a few thoughts on your guy here. I can empathise totally. I've got a couple of guys who I'm involved with, one currently and one previously, who are on scholarships in the States and have both gone through the same issues. Constant battle between what their coach is telling him and what I'm telling him. Fortunately, one guy realises that his college coach knows very little. And he sticks to the process really well. It sounds like this guy's got a little bit of conflict going on. Just offer a few thoughts in regards to what we were discussing on Facebook. I mean, getting your man here at Impact, the first thing for me is that everything's very square on. Hips haven't really opened a great deal. Very little of the lead leg showing. Shoulders, if anything, slightly shut off. Whereas with Grant, we can see that the hips are much more open, tailbone's releasing, shoulders square to slightly open at impact. So, the alignments for the kid on the left, it's very difficult to play golf from there. I've tried it in the past and it's a little bit colourful. Lots of pushes, quick hooks, push cuts, heavy shots, thin shots, you name it, and you get the full range of shots from there. So alignments at impact are obviously a big issue. You run it through, you can see quite a sort of high exit, high rate of closure, I would imagine, on his clubs. A little bit hard to tell with that footage. A lot of rolling of the club face, relatively high exit, lots of extension with your man, hip slide sort of has to stop, really. There's nowhere near enough rotation through the ball. It's sort of typical good players' disease, really. The hip slide and the extension kicks in. There's never really enough turn, and it's typical of someone pushing and hooking, etc. And I wouldn't imagine he enjoys getting driver out too much, particularly when there's a bit of trouble either side of the fairway. So need to look at tidying that up, obviously. Going back to P1, I think you picked up on the firing sequence of the accumulators, which is sort of why you made contact. However, for me, I'll be looking at tidying up this first move. Club goes out, arms lift. There's way too much lifting going on at that point in the swing compared to what we see with Grant. So the first protocol for me will be trapping something beneath this right arm, pressure point 5, really focus on the right arm against the torso. I love the lead wrist condition, but unfortunately, because of the other sort of chaotic moves that he makes, he's not really getting the full benefit of that, I'm afraid. Holds onto the flex in the right knee way too much, partly because he's able to lift his arms. So for me, the big goal initially is to remove his ability to lift the right arm off the torso. That's what I'd be looking at trying to change with this lad. What he then does is what all good players try and do, and that's relocate the arm against the side of the body. And the problem is, if he times that perfectly, he'll hit some pretty impressive shots. If he doesn't, he's just going to come straight back down the plane his hands are on, and he's going to pull things. Arm's going to get too much out in front of him, or in this instance, if he overdoes things, he's going to start getting the club lost behind him. So he's got a shallowing move, right arm against the torso, allied to a bold left wrist, which is just dropping the club under potentially. You can see there, still very chest onto the camera as he's approaching P6, never getting back into flexion with the upper body, really because he's just, 4 to 5 for this guy. He's just getting the arms back in, getting the club back in. So we need to be able to tidy that move up, remove the need to make that move. And then from there, it's just take your pick, really. The move he's making from the top, that's just seriously high maintenance. If this guy's serious about improving his golf, and swinging it in an efficient manner. He really needs to buy into the fact that, you know, there's a lot of different things demonstrated by a lot of different golfers, and I'm sure you've told him this. But if you want to show him this video and it's another voice, there's a lot of different golfers demonstrating a lot of different moves. If it works, fine. If it doesn't, you know, we'll be teach anybody to swing it like Jim Furyk. Jim Furyk's TrackMan numbers are fantastic. I personally wouldn't teach someone to do that. If I get someone in the studio who can do that and produce his numbers, fine, go out, win as many millions as you want, but not many guys can do that. Few and far between. So what you're seeing with Grant is a much more, you know, arms against the torso, you know, maximum use of the body, minimum use of the arms, I suppose, P1 to P4. I would say, you know, if I had to put this guy's swing in a category, I would say that there's way too much lifting, and then as a result, he's always trying to reroute the golf club. And a very similar, obviously like anything with golf, not identical, but a very similar scenario recently. I'll just try and find him on here, with a guy who had been coached previously by an England international coach, which, when you see this swing, just begs belief what sort of information they're churning out, you know. Chris was very talented junior golfer, turned professional, and he's currently playing off 8 and very close to packing the game in. Lots of lifting, holding on to the flex in the right knee, not to the same extent as your guy here. Apologies if I didn't get his name on your message, but anyway, arms lifting off, left arm quite high, too much flex being maintained in the trail leg. So that was the position he was in at the start of the session. We explained that obviously, you know, that's not the way to do things, and that we want to try and have the body and the arms working in sympathy with one another a little bit more. So what we've done here is we've trapped a cane, just an alignment cane under the right arm. This is a number of things. First of all, it emphasises pressure point 5, right arm against the chest, or right arm against the torso. And then what it also does is the bit of the cane that sticks out here helps the player become aware of the left arm and whether it's lifting, so it just gives them a little bit of an awareness of accumulator 4. Now as he takes the club back, much less flex being maintained in the trail leg. That'll vary from player to player, but certainly don't want to see a guy sitting into his right side like that. A little bit less flex being maintained, simply because, you know, if you limit the amount someone can lift the arms from P1 to P4, the only way you can get the club back is by learning to extend properly. So limit the arm movement. You can see the difference in the two swings there now. You know, rather than trying to relocate during the downswing, Chris can just come straight back down. So if you think about it from a simplicity point of view, what we want is a swing that can produce the good golf more often. This move, whilst demonstrated by some, is nowhere lifting and then relocating. Is nowhere near as simple as keeping the arms on the torso and then bringing them straight back down. Through the hit, this guy's got to learn to turn the corner. To help him turn the corner, I wouldn't do this initially, I would do this afterwards. I'd get the arms pinned to the chest first, and then what I'd expect to see happen is a lot of pushes. Occasionally dump the hands at it to, you know, to stop hitting the push, but originally that's what you'll get, a lot of pushes, I would say. What you want to do then is just get the club. I use a setup here while I'm filming where I just get a tour bag and I get a couple of canes coming out of it. But if you hold a club level with the left shoulder and about 6 inches ahead of it, and ask him to swing, keeping the arms under the club. So rather than having this uncontrollably high exit that we see here with limited sort of rotation. There's a lot of extending going on. What we start to see, look how compact that is, by the way. We start to see much more turn through the hit and a much lower exit as he comes through. So it just helps the player turn the corner from 6 to 8 and control the exit, rather than having the arms flung off the torso and the exit being a little bit too high. So pressure point 4 and 5, mainly pressure point 5, get that arm nailed to the chest or nailed to the torso at the top of the backswing, and then from there start to turn the corner better at the bottom. And what you will find is that he won't play perfect golf every time, but his swing will be more functional. The goal for every golfer is to get the swing functional. Once it's functional, you can add as much detail as you like, or he can add as much detail as he feels that he needs. Just makes your job easier, obviously. But I wouldn't worry too much about the firing sequence at the moment with your man there, because there's way too much lifting going on to the top. So reduce the lifting at P4 and turn the corner better from P6 to P8. I hope it helps. If you got any questions once you see this video, feel free to just drop me an email, or you can even Skype sometime, whatever suits. I hope it helps. Keep banging the drum, and I'm sure you'll start to listen sooner or later. Good luck with it. All the best. Take care.